Local history. Local culture. Local events. Your community. This is the Joe Kelly Show.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. Oneida County Executive Anthony Picente is our guest. We're going to be talking about a variety of issues, all involving Oneida County. But before we do that, we're going to say welcome. Good to see you again.
It's great to be back.
Busy guy.
Been a very busy summer.
Yeah. And one of the things that has occupied your time, I would guess, the most of your time this summer is what happened up in Rome, yes?
Yeah, the last 3-4 weeks have been consumed with the tornado and its aftermath and the cleanup and really just the initial recovery. So
yeah.
the first few days were very intense, but we seemed to get into a groove after that, and now it's a matter of rebuilding and repairing.
How long did it take before you got up there?
Oh, I was there within minutes. I had happened to be in Marcy at the time that the tornado struck, and within minutes, we were aware of it. So I was in. The tornado actually occurred between 3:25 and 3:35. I mean, it was only a 10-minute occurrence, which is, when you look at the amount of damage it did, was remarkable that in a short time period that could be that much damage. And so I was in Rome by 4 o'clock actually, and was out on the ground with the mayor and others, shortly thereafter.
Did the response, in retrospect, looking back at it, did the response from government and whoever else was involved there, did it go the way you wanted it to go?
Well, I couldn't be more proud of obviously, the response that, between my team, the county staff, but started with the city of Rome, the Mayor Lanigan, his team, police and fire, really, responded immediately to create calm with a lot of chaos going on, in which trees are down, power's out, people are uncertain where to go, traffic is starting to, clog up, and so then we got there, assistance from the Oneida County Sheriff, Sheriff Mayshell was with me, and immediately all of the teams came together. Police, fire, the law enforcement side, public works side, and really, and then with help from the state that came later that evening from the Office of Emergency Management, Homeland Security, State Police, so everybody, and we established a command post, and everybody came together very quickly.
And it's ongoing. What is the apartment building up there? I forget.
Georgian Arms.
Georgian Arms. And those people were displaced.
Many people were displaced. I know that one caught the initial response because of the damage to that building, which is a 7-story building, in which the 7th story got damaged considerably, in which the entire building had to be evacuated at that time. So we were dealing with that, still trying to understand what happened in other parts of the city, and who was displaced, or roofs blown off, houses destroyed. The remarkable thing, Joe, is that no lives were lost, no serious injuries, and we have to thank the good Lord for that.
Yeah. Switching topics, parking garage in Utica, parking at the auditorium was a problem for a while because, and at the hospital, because the garage wasn't open.
Sure.
And it was running a little behind schedule, if I recall correctly. And so you had the auditorium, you had the police station, you had the new hospital. Parking was at a premium. The garage is open now.
Garage actually opened. It opened that week, the week of the tornado occurs in Rome. Monday we opened first for the employees at Wynn, and wanted to get that squared away and get those people settled in on how the entrances and exits would work. And then on that Saturday was when we opened up for the public. And since that time, I've heard nothing but rave reviews from the public, from the hospital staff themselves. They love it. It's really, and we still got a couple things to button up there, some stairways that need to be finished a little bit on the exterior, and some other features that need to be put in place. But it is operational, it is open, it's safe, it's well lit, it connects right to the hospital, and it's an easy in and out for everybody, for the public and for the hospital staff.
Now, is somebody going to the auditorium, can they use that?
There's the garage itself has about 1,350 spots, of which about 1,000 of those, just shy of that, are designated for the employees during the course of the work week, which obviously in the hospital is 7 days, but it's a little bit different on the weekends, obviously. But that remains, another 300 plus spots for the public. So at any time during the day, whether it's during the day or at night for games, and those spots are available.
Now, does the county actually own that facility?
The county does.
Okay.
The county is the owner and operator of the garage.
And does the county also own that property behind the auditorium?
Yes. Well, no, not all of it. Some of it.
Okay.
The
and that's used for
auditorium,
parking?
that's used for parking as well.
All right. Refresh my memory. Is that paved?
It is.
All right.
It is.
And
It
lit?
is. And lit. It is.
And
It is.
how many parking spots are we talking about back there?
Oh, back there, I want to say there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 to 700. When you add in all the spots, and we also purchased another lot on Water Street that we haven't paved yet, but we used for the hockey tournament. We got that done in time with some crushed stone to get it accessible, and we'll pave that before the fall. So there's spots there. Then there's spots in the main auditorium lot that runs right alongside the Adirondack Bank Center, which is right across from the hospital garage.
So should it be that somebody who's going down to the auditorium for a game of some sort should not have a problem parking?
They should not. I mean, we were worried as the garage was being built because it was assuming so many other pieces of parcels around it because of the construction that was taking place. So now with all that cleared up, parking should be a lot easier at the Aud and going forward for the events, and we've got a couple coming up too.
In fact, we'll talk about one of those events right after this. Oneida County Executive Anthony Picente is our guest. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Oneida County Executive Anthony Picente is our guest. We're talking about Oneida County issues. And before the break, Mr. County Executive, you mentioned the auditorium and events coming down to the auditorium. There's a tournament coming down.
There's another tournament. We got done, the last time I was here, we were talking about the Women's World Hockey Championships, which was a great success. In April, and now we've got in the next few weeks in September, starting on the 20th, the World Lacrosse Box Championship. I know that's saying it the right way. Everybody says box lacrosse, it's the Cross Box Championship, and there are 48 teams coming to Utica and Oneida County, and over a 9-day period, and it's going to be another exciting event for the Adirondack Bank Center and the Aud and
is
and
it
Nexus.
actually at the Nexus Center?
It's within all of the within all of the area, the rinks that are
Yeah.
available.
That Nexus Center has proven to be quite the success, yes?
It really has. It has exceeded actually our expectations of activity. Tournaments, were booked, with every weekend, with the exception of these tournaments that are coming in, like when we did the hockey and when we did now doing the lacrosse, and but every weekend is taken except for Christmas and New Year.
Wow.
It's pretty remarkable.
And the women's hockey, this lacrosse, are these Rob Esch's initiatives?
They are. They're based on obviously Rob's connections in the industry, and in whether it was on the hockey side, but the fact that that the Odd Adirondack Bank Center and Nexus exists just opens up a whole new world, if you will, to us of attracting these type of tournaments. And Rob did lacrosse about a little over a year ago or 2 years ago, and did an outside rink. But also with that was the benefit of building Nexus, is that we could do hockey, soccer, lacrosse. And that opens up the doors to things like this. So it's the benefit of having a facility that can accommodate multiple teams over multiple days without any interruptions, and accommodate the parking, the hotels, and just the other amenities that we have to offer in this great community.
Somebody asked me a question that got me into this a long time ago. You think back when we had no professional hockey team.
Mm-hmm.
We had the Utica College hockey, but that was it for hockey.
That was it.
And things seemed to change around when Rob Esch came to town.
Mm-hmm.
Brought a AHL hockey here. The auditorium picked back up again. Then the vision for the Nexus Center. I don't know. Things seems to just change then.
It did, and the credit does go. I mean, obviously, Rob has done a tremendous job, and we've had a great partnership working with myself, the Aud Authority, and Mohawk Valley Gardens, his operation. It does, the credit of hockey, the rebirth, I think, does need to go to Utica College and now Utica University, because that program, and Gary Heenan done a remarkable job with that, and the college itself, because that really set the spark, and the excitement came back again.
Yeah,
and
you're
you
right.
and I remember, of the 80s and 90s of hockey in Utica, and it was able to come back. And Rob, came back at the same time, after his career, and settled back home, and saw the opportunity that, we could attract and compete on the AHL level, and it's changed the trajectory of entertainment, sports, and everything we've been doing, and we, that was one of my big, areas of concern, that we needed to capitalize on that. We needed to do more, and that's how Nexus came to be. And like I said, there's still more to come.
Yeah. Who actually owns the auditorium building? Who actually owns
The
Nexus?
Mohawk Valley Auditorium Authority.
So it's an authority
It's an
that
authority.
owns the building.
The authority was created years ago. It used to be owned by the city of Utica, but when regionalization took place on the side of the water authority, and the county and the city got together, created, along with the state, an authority for the Aud, and that has served well, with 9 members who are appointed partly by me, and some are appointed by the Board of Legislators.
And so I guess the taxpayers own it.
In essence, they do. I mean, because a big source of the funding of the Aud's operation come from the water authority, and there is a subsidy that is provided annually to the Aud from the water authority. And that was because of the regional benefit of the auditorium. But then Nexus is a separate piece, still owned by the authority, but funded together by the authority and by the county.
You hinted that there's more to come. You want to give us
Well,
an
I think,
idea?
we've been talking, I mean, and there's much more, obviously there's land down there, there's more activity. We have been looking at other avenues, because of the success of Nexus, looking at other areas of sports and entertainment that we can capitalize on. And, between the city of Rome and Utica, I think we have some things coming up that'll, in the months ahead. I mean, tornadoes set us back a little bit on some of these plans, but nonetheless, we'll be
You
doing
talked
some more.
about gambling down there, did you not?
Well, I did at one point, but that was, that has not gone over
No.
well with the public. So we'll stick to sports and
Yeah.
entertainment.
Everybody that gets into gambling seems to make money.
Well, they do, and the success of Turning Stone has allowed us to do some of these things, and I think that's an important aspect when we look at what we've been able to do as a county in terms of investments. Without the partnership that we created with the Oneida Indian Nation and the revenue that comes as a result of that, we couldn't have built Nexus. We couldn't have built, and been a partner with the hospital. We couldn't have done what we've done at Griffiths. We couldn't have held the line on taxes for 11 years
Yeah.
had we not had that other source of revenue.
And they seem to be growing all the time. They're always announcing something.
They're in the midst of a $360 million expansion. I mean, it's just remarkable. The numbers, to see that kind of investment in a region and a county of our size
Yeah.
is something pretty spectacular and pretty amazing.
And you think back, I mean, our memories sometimes can be short, but you think back when they started off with bingo. They had bingo, that was it.
Just a bingo hall, pretty much just like an open space.
Isn't that amazing when
It
you
is,
think
it
about
is.
what's, and I guess it was, you talk about Rob Esch and hockey, but when you talk about Turning Stone, you talk about Ray Halberter.
Ray had a vision, and that continues, and the expansion continues. Think about the three, golf courses that exist there. One a PGA Tour course. Pretty remarkable, and when you look at the land and what they've been able to do with it.
When we come back, I got to ask you too a question about Oriskany Creek.
Okay,
Oriskany
sure.
Creek has been having problems for as long as I can remember. We'll see what's going on there. Anthony Picente is our guest, County Executive. Short break, right back. And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Oneida County Executive Anthony Picente is our guest. We're talking about a variety of issues. I mentioned before the break, Oriskany Creek. As long as I can remember, Oriskany Creek from time to time has had flooding, sometimes very serious flooding. And I know that there's been is it a commission or is it a...
Yeah, what we established was, everybody, when we talk about flooding, everybody, the first creek that comes to mind is the Sequoia Creek, because that one cuts through even, a larger commercial area, through from New Hartford, Whitestown, into the village. But Oriskany Creek, as you say, it cuts through the same communities in some respect, up in Clinton, Kirkland, and down from there, and has caused as much havoc and some damages as Sequoia, and in some cases more. So the Sequoia Creek Basin Committee was created many years ago with the municipalities surrounding that creek basin to work together on issues, of mitigation and other safety areas. And so as Oriskany started, churning up more problems, we did the same in creating a commission that would look at, what we have there, and those communities could come together, help fund, the various studies and pieces that would help figure out some of the problems. And we just completed one of those on Oriskany that, pointed out to us, various areas of concern and ways to mitigate the flooding aspects that have been caused. And a lot of it's the common threads of the erosion of some of the banks that caused the creek to back up, the walls, the overgrown pieces of green, of trees and
abandoned
brush,
bridges too, right?
and bridges and
Yeah.
all of that. So we can, it's different, in all my years, you can look at a bridge and over time and see the damages and what needs to be repaired. But in a creek bed, it's a lot harder, because until you can actually have the engineers get in there and see, how deep is it really gone, what's on the bottom that's growing, what's clogged up in there, and what happens on the sides. And so we're putting a plan together to attack and to mitigate, much like we have done the work that has been done on the Sequoia Creek, with the benches and the levels that have expanded that, the width of it have significantly helped reduce the flooding events that we saw in consecutive, over 2-year periods. I think from 2011 to 2019, we were seeing floods every 2 years.
When do you think that's going to be announced?
I think, we just announced the results of the study over the last couple of weeks, so we'll start, looking at ways in which, we can get in there and start figuring out where are the starting points, much like we did with Sequoia, to determine, when we can begin. And we'll do that relatively quickly. We have, one of the things I've always been proud of is the work my administration has done on flood mitigation. We were the first to institute a 6-year plan, when we looked at the flooding that was occurring, too frequently, and that's been successful. So we'll keep it going.
The Oriskany Creek, the Sequoia Creek, all go into the Mohawk River, the Erie Canal. Do you see anything happening with the Erie Canal?
The Canal Corp, which I used to sit on the board, has been doing, a great deal of reimagining throughout the corridor of the canal locks, and certainly, we have a few of them. Obviously, the Harbor Project in Utica is a part of that and can be. The Marcy Lock, the work that's been done in Rome has been successful. We're seeing more boats come through. We need to do more, though. There does need to be more activity in those areas, and I know the Canal Corp has been instrumental in looking at ways in which to build up, a little more activity in those sectors, and it should be, because we know we have a lot of boaters, but we also have a lot of people who enjoy the waterways, and whether it's just simple, areas of kayaking and canoeing in the harbor areas that can be done, I think is something that we got to look at as we go forward.
I know it's a City of Utica project, but that inner harbor area, does the county play a role in there?
We are going to. In discussions with Mayor Galimi, we've talked about partnering up on the harbor area in view of what we've been doing in the downtown Utica area. With, I think it can fit into, we speak of Nexus and the Odd and that corridor, the downtown corridor, and whether it's the Stanley or anything else, if we can make that harbor area vibrant, that'll just expand and enhance everything else we're doing there.
There was some talk, was there not, of a pedestrian bridge that would go from around the auditorium over to
the harbor.
Yeah, what's the story on that?
That one kind of got stuck in limbo with COVID, but hopefully we can
Are you still in favor of that?
I think it could work. It's got to be done right. We got to have, but the bridge has to be connected to the right pieces. We have the right piece on the Nexus side. We need the right piece on the harbor side.
If the harbor got built up, I mean, you've got a bunch of hotels over there.
Yeah,
you
we've
got
talked
restaurants.
about, we talked about sports fields. We've talked about other, other activities there. But I think it could be whether it's hotels, whether it's some some retail, there's got to be activity for people to do. And I think, working with the mayor, we can figure some of that out.
And you've got some ideas that you're going to come back and talk to us
I am.
about, right?
I am, absolutely.
When you're ready to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Always good to see you.
Great to be here.
That's going to do it for us this week. We'll be back next week, though, and we'll do it all again. SandwayHomepage.com. There's a lot of good stuff there. Until next time, take care of yourself, everybody.